And welcome in, everybody, to the MHRT podcast. I'm your host, Mundungus Creevy, alongside my co-hosts, 6'10", Mr. Boggins, and Glenn Hauser. We are a fan-led Broncos-based podcast, filling you in on all things NFL news, but more importantly, Broncos news. We go live every Thursday at 7654 on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. And ladies and gentlemen, we are on a quest for 1,000. Now, you may be asking yourself, how do I support the podcast? The absolute best way to do that is to help us reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Now, Glenn has said once we hit that 1,000, he'll wear the Barrel Man barrel on the next podcast right after that. I said I dressed in like full wizard gear. You guys can, I think Adon should wear a lobster suit. Just it just makes sense. So make sure you slap that thumbs up button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share so that you can know when we go live anytime we post amazing content on our pages, and so that other Broncos fans out there in Broncos country can know that we are here. How's everybody doing?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm just going to give everybody like a heads up. If I stand up for a minute and walk out of frame, I am in a death battle with my air conditioner right now because it is 100 degrees outside, and this stupid thing keeps turning off every 10 minutes. So if I stand up and walk out, it's because I'm sweating and I can't see, and I'm fighting with this thing.
Seems
just a heads up.
You have pants on, I hope.
I have shorts on, and I'm a big old fatty. So when it gets hot, I get cranky.
Hey, that makes two of us. I can't complain.
Yeah, but you're 6'10". I'm not.
That's true.
Still chubby.
I'm 6'10" at heart.
6'10"
In my spirit.
See, at heart, I'm 6'11". So I got you like an inch.
11 and a half.
Just throwing that out there.
I'm
like 6'10" and 3/4.
Oh, cool.
There you go.
So I guess not the biggest news, but happy news. The stadiums are at full capacity this season. Denver was like one of the last teams that announced or that was approved, I guess, to have full attendance. I was going to say participation, but full attendance at the stadium.
The moment I heard Red Rocks was going to have complete attendance, I knew that the Broncos news was not far behind. So all good things.
Exciting.
The energy.
Yeah, that's what we need.
We got
Drew
Bob
seemed to play the
Skinner.
best with people in the stands too. So let's hope
Yeah.
he plays at least mediocre.
Bob, it's all good. Finally warm in Wyoming. Dude, you can take some of the heat here because it is way too hot.
Hey, it's hot here in Chicago too. It's 85 degrees, man.
It's still crazy that everybody's gets like hot around the same time. That may sound dumb now that I said it out loud, but but it's still like we weren't talking about this last week, and then the first week that we get that's over 80, you guys happen to be talking about it. Yeah, and if no one knows, we're all obviously completely different parts of the country.
Yeah.
So it's just
Well, in Washington, like houses don't come equipped with air conditioners because it doesn't usually get that hot. Like I know when I was stationed up there, there was like 2 weeks of like 100-degree weather.
Yeah.
No air conditioners. And I wasn't old enough or smart enough to know that there was such a thing as a window air conditioner, or I would have gone and bought one.
Yeah. ACs are not the biggest thing around here, but I went to Texas once, and that is, man, would it
They're definitely around there.
pay well to be in the AC business.
Yes,
My
it is.
goodness.
That Texas heat
everywhere.
is not to be messed with, dude. I'm used to the humidity here in Chicago. That heat in Texas, it's like the sun is right next to you.
Yeah.
It is. I was like, God, how do people live down here? Jeez.
Crazy.
So the last 2 minutes have not helped our quest for 1,000. I'm just
No, not at all. Not at all. We talked about
Broncos.
it.
Yeah, bro.
I'm
How about the weather?
Hey,
Called
Bob started
icebreakers.
it. I guess I started it.
Yeah,
But Bob continued it.
They're called icebreakers.
80 is the heat wave here. Bob, where are you from?
Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Oh, duh. It's right there. Warm in Wyoming. Maybe he was visiting. Shut up, Glenn.
Yeah.
Jeez.
True.
Oh, we're off to a great start tonight.
I know, right? Okay, so I think a lot of this, and so you're supposed to have a plan when you come into a podcast. But the great part about being a fan-led podcast is we can just talk football.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to like have concrete evidence of stuff. Like we can make stuff up, and who cares? Because we're fans. We can do what we want.
Only haters make stuff.
No, yeah,
Pretty
only
much.
haters make stuff up. But no, there's a lot of crap going around on either side, on Lock or Bridgewater or defense or offense or this lineman or that lineman or this wide receiver, that wide receiver. I just kind of want to talk about it because it's just so dumb. Like, why can't we just be realistic about everything?
Mm-hmm.
Why has it got to be like you either believe this, you believe that? If you're in the middle, you suck.
There seems to be a lot of hype right now around Jerry Jeudy because he caught a couple passes in training camp. That Jerry Jeudy is going to be the best ever, and people still forget about Cortland Sutton somehow. I saw some comments that were like, Jerry Jeudy is better than Cortland Sutton, and it's like, huh? I swear people take I swear people take Cortland Sutton for granted way too much. Like they just somehow forgot about him after he had like he was looking like a top 10 receiver the year before his ACL. So I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. People are bored right now. There's not much going on.
And
not much to talk about.
Yeah, well, and I take more like Jerry Jeudy looking good to him being thrown the ball by Bridgewater, who seems like he's a better fit throwing the ball. Like, so like Brett Favre was known for his arm, and like when he hit the receiver's fingers, like he would dislocate fingers, break fingers, like he would throw it that hard. Teddy Bridgewater,
Elway cross.
Teddy Bridgewater is not that quarterback. He's floated, timing, precision, and so like I can see how catching a ball from Bridgewater is easier than catching it from Lock, but I'm not slamming anybody's throwing style. Like if you're throwing it hard, cool. As long as you throw it hard, accurate, zip it in there. But
as long as Peyton didn't have an arm.
No, as long as you can complete the pass, who cares?
Peyton never had an arm even when he came out of college, really. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't anything to write home about. And as long as you have your timing down.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's one of the big differences between and I keep hearing it from Albright and Cody Rourke and all the other Broncos podcasts that we listen to is like it shut off again. It's hot.
We're going to be seeing that
pushing his buttons.
It just started. But they keep talking. They keep talking about how well each quarterback is doing in minicamp OTAs. I don't really care. I mean, if you want to get down to the brass tacks of it, Albright said they both are playing about equal. It seems like there are some decisions that Drew made that didn't make sense, or he held the ball too long. And then there's Bridgewater, who's missing open receivers and doesn't have the timing down. But that could all be like, Bridgewater's been there for a month, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I mean, he doesn't have that connection with the receivers yet. He doesn't have that timing down. I'm more concerned about if Locke is holding the ball too long or not making the correct decisions. That's the problem. But he was with the second team, and they were against the first team defense, so that makes sense.
And it was interesting to see they were talking about that while, if you watch Broncos Country tonight, they were talking about that, but also showing clips of OTAs where Drew was underthrowing like Noah Fant on a crossing route that was just like your basic crossing route with no pressure whatsoever, and he's underthrowing it where he couldn't even catch the ball. So that worries you. That kind of stuff. It's like we're talking about Teddy overthrowing people, but that's to be slightly expected when you're learning new receivers. But I mean, Drew and Fant have been playing together for quite a while. So, I mean, a simple crossing route is something that you don't necessarily want to see your starting quarterback just miss when he's open.
Yeah. You know what? It's interesting, though, because both of these guys are coming in and they both have different mountains to climb. Drew Lock I believe his mountain to climb is a little bit higher, more difficult than Teddy Bridgewater's. Obviously, as Mike stated, Teddy Bridgewater's mountain is just trying to get the new receivers and tight ends and just getting accustomed to an all new offensive scheme. Going from what they had in Carolina to what we have in Pat Shurmur. Whereas Drew Lock, there's more pressure on his shoulders in terms of him trying to prove that he can be that number one quarterback that John Elway has a vision of him being, and not get benched midway through the season or end up losing his job altogether next season.
Yeah.
I think it's so early to even be picking apart everything. We're all just so desperate for any sort of tidbits that, for me, like the interesting thing is seeing the guys in the press conferences and really seeing what kind of shape they've come in. they showed Draymond the other day, and he's the same playing weight, but he's much more muscular and has gotten himself. He wants 10 sacks. That's his goal for the season. I mean, can you imagine if we have Vaughn and Chubb playing it and throw Reed in there, and we have Draymond getting 10 sacks too? I mean, this could be just a dominating force.
I think I had like Miller and Chubb getting like 25 between the two of them. It's like 13 one, 12 the other, and then if you got Draymond getting 10, woohoo, that's going to be fun. And that doesn't even include like
Malik
Harris getting one or a middle linebacker blitzing and getting one. So that could be fun.
Yeah. Yep. Our front seven, I think, is very underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's pretty good. Like, people forget Mike Purcell was playing pretty decent. Draymond was talking up Ajim like he's going to be making that leap like Draymond did last year. And so we're on paper, we're looking. You know what's really crazy to think about is like the roster right now is comparable to the defensive roster would be semi-comparable to our 2015 Super Bowl run, our win, and our offense weapons-wise is comparable to our 2013, but opposed to besides the quarterback. It's pretty crazy to think about that our roster is that stacked outside the quarterback position.
Yeah, that's agreed. Does anybody know the condition of Baron Browning?
That's what I was going to say. EJ, I'm seeing some comments about injured players already, and I know Brown. They're being cautious with Browning, right?
Yeah, this is lower ankle injury.
But then there's
cautious with him and KJ as well. KJ is also just being cautious. Hamstring.
But he's been having that hamstring since he left college, right? Like it's the same thing over and over and over again.
It's the speedster disease, man. Like those speedsters and their hammies, they don't.
Well, they said he put on about 10 pounds of muscle because Judy was saying he was bigger. They said last year he came in at 171 and he's about 182.
Welcome to the NFL. I mean, that's what happens. You get bigger. You need to.
I'm hoping that's muscle and not like Laffy Taffy or skills.
Oh no.
M&M.
That's what happens to us. That's he actually said that he didn't have any hamstring injuries prior to coming to the NFL, which surprised me a little bit. But
no, he wasn't ever injured in college.
Just
I think he had a lingering hammy in college too.
Yeah.
It's always been said.
The hamstring injuries are the ones that drive me the most crazy. It's like the yoga, stretching. I mean, there should be all sorts of things to guard against that ever happening. And yet it happens and then it lingers. It just doesn't ever heal.
I've personally suffered a hamstring injury and it just keeps it's so hard to get back from that, especially when you play at the highest level, and that's what you're known for, and you're being fast. So oh gosh, it's a lingering one that's probably the biggest injury I'm going to be looking out for. That might be his career nagging thing,
Bob Skinner, could you imagine Judy catching an Elway pass?
I'm pretty sure that's happened off the
like
field.
Judy, or was McCaffrey more like Patrick?
Wait, what? McCaffrey?
McCaffrey. Yeah, was he more like Judy or a Patrick?
He was more
I'd say
outside.
Patrick.
What other McCaffrey would I be talking about, Adon?
Christian McCaffrey.
Christian
McCaffrey is more like Jerry Judy.
Yeah.
No, I believe.
I thought you were talking about Ed McCaffrey.
I am.
He is.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, was Ed McCaffrey more the slot guy or the possession guy, or more the Tim Patrick?
More of a Patrick. I mean, the guy was a tall, lanky, caught everything, took all sorts of hits, shook his head when he got up, and just went back and played. He was so reliable.
I'm pretty sure he was
fast too.
Yeah, he was.
Wasn't he an X? I think he was an X.
I think he was an X because Brandon Stokely was the slot receiver, wasn't he?
No, Stokely came well after.
Stokely was way after that. Stokely was after Welker.
No.
So it was Welker then Stokely, right?
No,
because
Warren.
No, it's opposite.
Was Welker with Manning?
Welker was yeah.
Okay, so
Stoke was there too, but I think Stoke left. Old Stoke, as they call him, retired, and then Wes Welker came in from the Patriots.
Right.
Okay, I thought it was the other way around. So Stokely
Yeah.
first, then Welker. Okay.
Yeah, because I think Stokely was with the Ravens when the Ravens won the championship in 2012, and then he retired. I think.
But he came back with Peyton.
Oh, for a season, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, because he was
part of the
had
recruiting
that-
process. Like
yeah,
he
he
was.
had that awesome catch against the Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Wasn't that Kyle?
No, I will not. EJ, hopefully Kush put on muscle. He was bullied last year. Yeah, and that was what we said in the last two podcasts. Was that part or the big part of Kush's problem was that he didn't have the physicality that he needed, which is why I was excited that they got Quinn Miners, because that's exactly what Quinn Miners is. Is that physical guy, and obviously they're going to have the camp battle at center. Because I mean, if you can go into if you can go into the NFL season having 300 something snaps under your belt at center, obviously we're going to know who's the better center. I honestly I think Miners is going to win, but you never know. I don't know what Kush did in the offseason.
Yeah, well, I mean, Miners is going to go up against some of the best defensive tackles in the game of football. I don't think we faced the Rams this year, so he won't see Aaron Donald during the regular season, but he will see some formidable guys out there. So it's pretty much Cushenberry's job to lose, EJ. If putting on muscle is great, but if he doesn't have that stance, if he doesn't have that, I don't know if energy is the right word, but just that power that we had when we had Matt Paradis, who could just, when you needed a running lane, he could, move a guy over so the running back can get through, or, pass protect, give the quarterback time to throw in the pocket. That's really what I believe Mike Munchak is looking to see, who can give him more of that from either Miners or Cushenberry.
I wish we'd never gotten rid of Paradis. Can we go get him? Bring him back. Why do we get contract? Why do we get rid of him?
Contract.
Well, he got a better deal from Carolina. So
Yeah, they paid him
big bucks.
Yeah,
they're paying, and he's still the best guy on that line too.
Well, McGovern wasn't even that bad either when he filled in.
Nope.
Yeah, and he got a big contract with the Jets.
Yep.
He's still center at the Jets, or did he move to guard?
Yep.
No, I think he's still there.
Yep. I think he's still center.
Jiminy Christmas.
You know what?
Jets O-line is looking pretty good on paper.
Well, if they keep getting first, second, and third overall picks and draft offensive linemen, I bet it does.
Yeah, well, they can thank Seattle for that.
EJ, do you guys think Fant can finally have a breakout season this year?
Yes, sir.
I thought he was going to have one last year, but
Yeah,
for some stupid reason, he didn't get used like half of the season.
Well,
he was hurt.
He was also.
Well, I know, but I meant like the second half of games, and sporadically he just wouldn't get the ball thrown to him.
Yeah, he was a boss last season though, like just fighting through his injuries, man. That kid just couldn't catch a break. He was catching all the balls, couldn't catch a break though. And I think he'd have a bigger season if Teddy Bridgewater is at quarterback, because I think Teddy Bridgewater, the way he works, he likes to use the tight end a lot more than Drew has shown in the past. So I think that he would. It's kind of like I don't want to compare him to Joe Flacco, but like Joe Flacco really loved. He got his money using the tight end a lot, and it's kind of the same as Teddy Bridgewater. He likes to use that tight end right down the seam. So I think if he played it, he'd have a big season. So
far, it seems like Locke has been doing a lot of practicing checkdowns in practice, because he's been throwing a lot of short balls. So I'm wondering if that's a coaching decision, or if that's him just working on dumping off the ball, checking the ball down, hitting that first read, not getting it, and then going somewhere else. I mean, it's good that he's working on it. I think what might end up happening is that Bridgewater is going to push to get the job, and Locke is going to try to play it safe.
Just be a check down Charlie.
Yeah, be a check down Charlie, trying not to throw the pick, and it's going to end up being like, well, you played it too safe.
Yeah, I can see that happening. No risk it, no biscuit.
But at the same time, like I really feel that Bridgewater is being very, very, very undervalued.
Yeah.
Because everyone's coming in like, well, his floor is here, but his ceiling is not that high. It's like, well, now wait a minute.
And Carolina is paying to just get rid of him,
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he earned that massive contract from Carolina for a reason. Like, if you give him a good roster like he had with New Orleans, he can be a really good quarterback. So we know where his floor is. I don't know if we know where his ceiling is yet. I don't know if it's as high as Locke, but I think it's higher than people think it is.
Don't you think New Orleans would have loved to have him as their quarterback this year over the options that they do have? I think they would. But he left for massive money. You don't think so? Over Jameis Winston?
Mucho dinero.
Well, and we still don't know if they're going to give it to
Jameis
Taysom Hill, though. We don't know if they're not going to. I mean, do we know that they're not going to give it to Taysom Hill?
They paid him big old monies.
I know, but so is Taysom Hill going to be the quarterback or is Jameis Winston?
Probably not. He'll probably be that gadget guy that they keep. I think they kept his contract to like be able to use him as like some weird. I don't know. We need to get Bob in here to talk about cap situations. But I remember that his contract was almost used as like a scapegoat for a lot of like signing bonuses so that they could keep a lot of players, like so they could move around a lot of money and whatnot.
Yeah, they paid him a lot of money, but they didn't really pay him a lot of money.
Yeah, something like that.
Like $145 million contract or something crazy. Like
it's weird. But I don't think he's not a good quarterback. He's what Tim Tebow could have been if Tim Tebow was a team player. That's what Taysom Hill is.
Well, now people are saying that's what Jacksonville is going to use Tebow as now. Because me and Glenn are talking about it, like they're not like Jacksonville is not going to let Tebow go. He's got like 3 of the top 5 best-selling jerseys in the NFL right now. Like he's not going anywhere.
All the Jags care about right now is selling tickets, straight up.
Yeah,
like did you not see Urban Meyer on WWE?
Yeah, well, and Khan's talking about building a new stadium.
AEW.
Huh?
AEW.
Oh, AEW. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, and Shad Khan's talking about building that new Jaguar stadium. Like it was like a $450 million proposal or something like that.
Yeah.
So
that's extra pocket change.
They're not like, even if Tebow isn't that good, like with the amount of money that apparently Glenn's air conditioner is broken too. I guess with the amount of money that Tebow's going to bring in, because he's like number 1 and number 2, and then there's someone else at 3 and 4, and then he's at number 5 with another jersey. So if he's 3 out of the top 5 in jersey sales in the NFL, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. But anyways, back to Bridgewater. I still think, I don't know. I think the one of the things that helped Bridgewater in New Orleans was not just the weapons that he had, but also the offensive coordinator, being the head coach, being
Rule.
Yeah,
Matt Rule.
Huh? No. What? No. New Orleans.
I thought you were Carolina.
Yeah, no. New Orleans.
Sean Payton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was made the offensive coordinator, but really the head coach, Sean Payton, helps out a lot. He's like one of the best offensive minds in the league. So I think that definitely helped Bridgewater's case to set up for that contract to the Panthers. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Bridgewater can be a good Band-Aid quarterback, but I'm rooting for Locke to hopefully win the position, because that would mean that there was some sort of ceiling that we could hopefully attain. Yeah. Other than that, we're looking at a straight refresh at quarterback next year.
Yeah.
EJ, that's good to see Locke throwing checkdowns and not forcing throws and getting interceptions. True. I mean, there was a big problem with him getting to the check down and throwing the check down. He would just chuck it up. But so that is good. But at the same time, like right now in a quarterback competition, all the pressure's on Drew Lock. Like basically it's his job to lose, but he's the one that's under the most amount of pressure, because if he messes up at all, I mean, there's a potential that they pull him right out and Bridgewater's in there.
Yeah.
So he's under the most amount of pressure. So he has to play it right. He can't just be the guy that's just chucking checkdowns. He's going to have to go out there and take some chances, but some smart chances, throw the ball deep. Yeah. So like they were saying, like Locke has that rocket of an arm, but if he can learn to have the rocket of the arm with the touch and the accuracy, he's good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, EJ, if you go back and look at some of the previous quarterbacks after Manning, they were pretty much check down Charlies. I mean, the home stadium would boo the hell out of our quarterbacks for throwing, for just constantly throwing on these check downs and, not going for the conversion on third down. And it wasn't something like, 3rd and 12 or worse than that. It was something like 3rd and 6, 3 and 2. And the quarterback wasn't able to get the conversion, and then the team had to punt the ball. So this is an issue that's been plaguing this offense for the longest time with these previous quarterbacks. So while the check down is okay in certain occasions, it's something that you don't want Drew Lock to get accustomed to always go for the check down. Like Mike said, if he can accommodate his arm with the touch and land the ball, like if he can make those passes from that Carolina game to a guy like KJ Hamler running on all cylinders with either Sutton or Jerry Jeudy, I mean, we're in business.
And that's the value of Hamler stretching the field. I mean, that's the value of so many of these weapons that we have. I cannot wait. I mean, I just like Sutton, Patrick, Jeudy, Hamler, and Fant. I mean, can you imagine the 5 of them lined up there? I mean,
I think that's why people are so excited that are so trying to be very optimistic with Drew Lock, is because, like what Adam was saying, like before the quarterbacks before this, we didn't necessarily have the weapons, and we also didn't have, like, Trevor Siemian wasn't anything to write home about. You know what I mean? Like all the Joe Flacco, Case Keenum, it was just like nothing was exciting. Now Drew Lock comes around, and the 4 out of the last 5 games, his stats aren't the craziest thing in the world, but he's making some throws that you're just like, wow, like that is something. Like, you saw a glimpse of something, and I think people are trying really, really hard to rein that into like a franchise court. Like, give him time, please give him time, please give him time, because there might be something there, which I get, but it's you also need to see that consistency. Of that's what Brett Favre could do, right? Brett Favre was like, also has like the most interceptions of all time, but he has that wow factor, and when he was able to rein it in just enough to be one of the greatest of all time. And I'm not saying Drew Lock is
going to be Brett Favre,
but you're getting my point, hopefully.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like Brett Favre was like a lot of that was really good. That was really good. That was really good. Oh, that was stupid. Oh, that was really good. Whereas with Locke, it's like, oh, that was stupid. That was stupid. That was stupid. Oh, that was really good. Oh, that was stupid. That was stupid. Yeah. He's just got to flip it. So it's like, it's not, and I would say most of us are on the same page. Like, it's not that he can't get better. Like, we all believe he can get better, and we hope he can get better. Our thing is just trying to be realistic on, he's not going to go from 27th to 32nd, wherever he ranked as a quarterback, to number 2. Like, that's not going to happen. That's just, I mean, statistically, historically, it's not going to be a thing.
Well, if you look at
I think he could make a jump to like 17, 16, 15. And then if he can make another one, make another jump after that, that's fine. I'm not expecting him to be like dead last to Super Bowl MVP. Like that.
Yeah. And what was unusual about Drew last year is you truly didn't know what you were going to get each game. I mean, his performance was a complete surprise, and it ran contrary to the last 5 games, especially the game against Houston. I mean, that's the one where he's zipping those, like Boggins is saying. I mean, he threw some passes to Fant, and it was like, oh my gosh, like this guy is like, we have struck gold. And I mean, it's not a matter of wanting him to fail, not thinking he could do well, giving him an opportunity. It's not a matter of that. It's a matter of covering our rear ends so we can salvage the season before it's too late. And I don't know why it's such a hard concept for people to figure out, that we talk about depth at every position, yet when it comes to the quarterback position, it's all hands off. I mean, the one thing we haven't talked about is Aaron Rodgers. We haven't even mentioned him until half hour in.
Way to go.
We're doing so good.
I mean, now you're seeing people, they're like, see, the 2nd of June, you guys all thought he was going to be signed. It's like, no, that's when we expected things. That's when things could start happening, potentially happen. Yeah. So like, let's, like, people need to pump the brakes a little bit and realize that stuff still may change, but I mean, with these weapons, we cannot squander our opportunities. It pisses me off. I just don't understand why it's such a hard concept to understand.
Yeah, and speaking of weapons, let's move on to Boggins' favorite one. Javonte Williams is going to be everyone's favorite player. Christopher Kramer. I don't recognize that name. Do you?
Mm-mm.
Thanks, Christopher.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for
Thanks,
stopping by.
Chris.
I should say, like, Javonte Williams is Boggins' most favorite running back in the entire draft.
And they want you to call him Pookie.
Pookie.
Who was the one that didn't? Who was the one that didn't like? Oh, that was Rich, wasn't it? Didn't like Pookie.
Yeah.
Well, Pookie don't like him. He doesn't like Richard or Justin Simmons either.
No, but like, so I was listening to Broncos Country Today or whatever it's called. I don't remember what it's called. One was Benjamin Albright on it. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. There's like 17,000 different podcasts I listen to, so I don't remember that. But Steve Atwater said Javonte Williams is one of those guys where even though he's on the field and you know he's going to run it, you're not going to be able to stop him. Like, you want to be able to run the ball even when they know you're going to run the ball. And that was the problem we had with Lindsey last year, was when Lindsey came on the field, you knew what was going to happen. When Gordon came on the field, you knew what was going to happen.
Like I've said a million times, if anybody is unfamiliar with Javonte Williams, go watch the highlights from him or from North Carolina versus Miami. You will, like, if you can't take anything besides upside from that, then you know it's insane. I haven't seen many players with that kind of contact balance like ever, that he can just get, even if he doesn't necessarily run him over, he gets hit, they fall down, he just spins and keeps going. Like it's like a mix between Nick Chubb and CJ Anderson. And I'm really excited to see what the potential is. I'd ask that everybody kind of keep their standards to a little bit lower, because the first season, I mean, Melvin's going to be taking the brunt of the carries at first for sure. I mean, but the plan? Yeah, I do. But I think is the plan to push Javonte into that role, because there's no chance very little chance Melvin's going to be back next year. Yeah, I do. I think they're going to slowly put him in there to start.
Do we know if there's still a chance that Gordon could get suspended because of the
NFL likes to take their time. So I
because I know like nothing legally happened, but that doesn't mean the NFL still can't.
Did you see the video?
Did you see that?
Yeah, the video is pretty bad. So it's possible. Now, I think if that happens, then it's gonna be really interesting. Yeah. You're going to want to keep Royce around too, because they're going to need a third running back. Well,
you don't have to use just Gordon as the receiving running back, because that's one of the things that Boone does really well, is receiving out of the backfield, right?
I don't know about that. Not as much.
Or was it Boone or was it Williams? That was
Williams has some experience. They didn't use it that ton at North Carolina. A lot of it was mainly screens or in the flat, or just like a check down, and then that he would run for 30 yards for touchdown. So it wasn't like he wasn't asked to do routes really. I'm sure he knows one, maybe two routes in the route tree. So you're not asking me to do a ton, but you're also not making it extremely obvious when you're calling these.
You're making it really easy to segue into stuff here, Bob.
Well, you mentioned Lindsey real quick. Let me just make this point.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if you saw that the Texans signed Rex Burkhead this week. Also.
Yeah,
like
one more running back.
Just, I mean, you think he's second guessing taking that deal? I mean,
but Burkhead is that ultimate like receiving running back.
No, I know, but it's just one more guy taking
that like 7 away,
and his whole contract essentially is based on these bonuses and these incentives. I mean, it's I almost believe that he didn't get any other offers. Yeah. Because I don't know why you would go to a place that already had a couple of established
two, and now there's what, like there's as many running backs as there is quarterbacks.
I don't remember who Derek Johnson, Lindsey,
David Johnson.
David Johnson,
Mark Ingram.
None
Some
of them are really that
big of have the cut, so you have to keep that in mind too.
None of them are big receiving backs, so that's going to be.
Burkhead is though.
Not really, like screens. Not
but like because Burkhead was a Nebraska guy, which I'm a Nebraska guy.
Yeah.
So like in Nebraska, he ran a lot of screens and
In Nebraska.
Yeah, but
yeah.
That's why
he did it. He did it in New England too.
Going
I mean,
from
that's what New England does is use the running backs as receivers.
Yeah, but screen. I wouldn't consider screens big passing.
No.
You're not like a Chris Thompson or something out there, or you know what I mean, or a Kamara or something. You're not. That's what I consider more.
Going from a New England offense to a Houston offense is going to be night and day for Rex Burkhead. So
well, but he wasn't with New England last year, though, was he? Was he?
Yeah,
Was he?
Right. Yeah,
Burkhead with New England.
Yeah. That's why they're calling. That's why they're calling the Texans. What they call them, Patriots South now.
Patriots South because they're picking up all the Patriots players. Yeah. He had that crazy run screen pass. I think it was with Cam Newton, which was actually how he got hurt, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. EJ, do you guys see our QBs using more no huddle, hard counts, audibles pre-snap this year? I think we would have saw them last year, but that's one of the things that Cushenberry and Locke struggled with was the pre-snap audibles and the hard counts and the no huddles. They did okay. But I think a lot of that has more to do with Cushenberry not being able to figure out the adjustments and what needs to happen where than it was anything else.
Yeah, crowd noise is going to be a factor this season too. So that's another thing that the O-line have to and Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater, they kind of have to get used to that because they may have gotten out of sync. Even though most stadiums were pumping in music and crowd noise, it's not the same. So
yeah.
That's another issue.
With how much Drew idolizes Aaron Rodgers and had a couple hours to train with Peyton, let's hope he throws in a couple like heads up moves where maybe the defense is still is jogging to the sideline and maybe he'll huddle up quick or quick snap it on him, something like that. That you could shout out
like, hey, we're going left, and then throw it right.
What?
Right?
Yeah, something like that. Give Aaron Rodgers
never see it coming.
Yeah.
A misdirection, Mike?
Exactly. A misdirection? A counter play?
One of the big positive storylines coming out of OTAs, minicamp, everything is Pat Surtain. Everybody is saying how great he looks in he's learning every position. And I know they were talking about they have moved Ojemudia to working more in the nickel and working more out of like what Kareem Jackson and Duke Dawson did last year, so that Surtain is more
outside.
Outside.
Which is weird because I thought that like based on what Fangio was saying is they wanted to try him in the nickel also, but it makes way more sense. Like he's super comfortable on the outside and he's a big body receiver. I don't know why you would I was worried when he said that. Maybe I don't know why I said that, but anyways, I'm really glad that they're keeping him on the outside because I think he'll be a beast on the inside. He reminds me a lot of like a Jalen Ramsey, which I wouldn't imagine if we had like someone of at least decent comparable and then a Kyle Fuller on the outside and then Bryce Callahan in the slot. And then you rotated out Ojemudia and Darby. Like, man.
So Vic can't be happy at Kyle Fuller. I can't imagine that he's thrilled that he's not shown up yet.
Do we know why he hasn't shown up yet?
No. I mean, when Vic was originally mentioned him or asked about him, he said, he's chosen not to be here,
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I'm sure they're talking though, and he knows the system. It's not like if he was coming from somewhere completely different system, like he's coming from like a Wade Phillips system, I'd be worried. But
right, but come see your teammates. I mean, come get acclimated to these.
Yeah, he'd been messaging and calling. I think Von Miller was one of the guys. Justin Simmons, he was talking to as well. So I mean, he's been like talking to the guys. But
I'll be more worried if he doesn't show up at minicamp.
Yeah.
Well, but that's mandatory, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd start getting fined at that point. So.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So do you think Rodgers shows up at minicamp or not?
No. Well, okay. And this is the thing that's driving me nuts. Like I keep hearing people like, "Oh, he's such a diva. He wants more money." And this is the one time I'll defend the guy. Like It has been very widely reported by many different sources that he's been offered numerous contracts, exactly what he wanted, and he said no, he didn't want it. So obviously money is not the problem. It's been very well documented that him and the front office are having issues because of the disrespect they continue to show him every single season. Like there's a big difference between being a Tom Brady and being on that level and being like, hey, let's bring this guy in. Hey, let's bring this guy in. And the team like, okay, we'll look into it. And then there's Aaron Rodgers with the Packers, and they tell him to shut up and go play football. And instead of helping him by drafting a receiver or going and signing free agent receivers or running back or more linemen or a tight end other than Tanyan, like anything, they go and get corners and linebackers and defensive ends. Like, I would be pissed too.
Yeah. You know, they Rich Eisen was interviewing Bruce Arians, and Rich asked him, this was a couple days ago, he asked him if Brady knew in advance that they were going to pick Kyle Trask, and he's like, oh yeah, we talked about all this stuff, and you know, I threw out some wide receivers and some offensive players to him for his opinion also. You know, it's like, yeah, we were in constant communication with Tom about all, you know, all these plans. And I don't understand why it's so hard. I mean, I know that you don't want the players weighing in on every decision, but I mean, don't you talk to a Hall of Fame top 10 all-time quarterback, you know, and ask him his opinion on this or give him a heads up? I don't fault him at all. You know, and I hope he holds out and then we get him. That's what
I don't think he's gonna leave. I just think he's not gonna play. I have like, and in all honesty, I don't think he's gonna leave. But I mean, him getting fined through the entire season, like with the amount of money that guy's made, I don't think he'll even blink. Like, whatever.
I like to think that there's gonna be there's got to be a limit where the Packers front office just finally says,
Bobby,
you know, hi Bobby, that they finally just say, you know what, just give us whatever for Aaron Rodgers, because there were talks that the contracts that the Packers were offering Aaron Rodgers surpassed what Patrick Mahomes has in Kansas City. So these contracts, the money would have made him the highest paid player in the league.
And then there were a lot of stories saying that like he wanted a time commitment, and there were like the contracts were like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
like how, and he kept saying no. So obviously it's not a money thing. No. Yeah. I don't understand why that continues to be a storyline. That's not a thing. That's not the problem.
I honestly think the Packers are going to have to choose between the GM and Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think they're going to budge on the GM because, like I said, there's not really. I mean, they have a CEO, but they don't really have an owner to really push. Like,
and that gives the players way too much power.
Oh, that's a precedent.
And I'm not saying players shouldn't have power; they should have some, as far as like a say. But and it's like the same thing with, you blame quarterbacks for interceptions. Well, ask the quarterback what he needs to stop throwing interceptions. Like if he needs a check down tight end, if he needs a better running back, if he needs go ask the guy. Not saying you're going to go do it, but at least ask him his opinion. Especially Aaron, like you're telling me that Aaron Rodgers hasn't earned that. Like I would honestly say top 5 of all time. Aaron Rodgers would be top 5 of all time. So I don't like,
especially when he becomes the Broncos and then he wins about more Super Bowls.
Yeah. If he's a little bit of a diva, like who cares? Like he's earned it. Why can't he not be one? But saying that he's a diva because he's holding out for more money is just stupid. Like,
but it doesn't fit the narrative. You know, you got to discredit the guy, and that's why we don't want him because he's going to be a problem.
That wants money and he's going to leave when he gets here. Like that's not it's not a thing.
No,
but whatever. I don't know.
But I agree. So let's get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, let's go.
So long draft picks.
Okay, so
who cares? Who cares?
That's fine.
Can you imagine the free agents we'd be able to pick up?
Yeah.
And honestly, I think what's going to end up happening is he'll sit out this season and then get traded next season. That's what I see happening.
Yeah,
because if they were going to do it and get their money's worth, they would have done it before the draft. Because if you trade them now, they're going to get the 25th pick up. Like they're not going to get very good value for the first round pick for Aaron Rodgers. So if anything, it'll be next offseason before the draft.
Every single NFL team has called Mark Murphy from the Packers and said, "Don't you dare fire that GM! And do not do this to Ed."
Don't you do it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope we get Rodgers. We all hope we get Rodgers. I just don't think it's going to happen. Like I would love to have Aaron Rodgers, but
and to everyone worried about draft picks, like first of all, they're going to be, if we get Aaron Rodgers, they're going to be late first round. Someone in the comments tell me a player that they believe is going to be in the late first round in the next 3 drafts. I'll wait. Just kidding.
I know,
like or imagine
draft.
like what's our last 3 first round picks? Surtain, Judy, Fant, right? You're telling me you wouldn't give up any of those 3 for Aaron Rodgers? Like we can find some decent talent, but not Aaron Rodgers level.
Marcus, and those aren't even good examples because one was at 9. I think Judy was at 15 and Fant was at 20. So so those aren't even as far back as we're talking that we'd be giving up. I mean,
and I think Fant is the only one that I would struggle with a little bit, but no, I don't like, because right now Judy's not even the best receiver on the team. Fant I might struggle with a little bit, but no, they can have.
Fant is going to be special.
They can have the 3 first rounders and a second rounder. My issue isn't the draft picks; it's what players we would have to
right.
That's where it's like, okay, that's a little much.
I'm fine with anybody from the offense out.
Well, I am. You start
I'm fine
getting
with
the Bulls, and it's like, no, you can't have Bulls.
Yeah. I'm pretty much fine with anybody on the offense. The defense I wouldn't want.
Because there was one, and I don't remember who it was from. I want to say CBS Sports or something like that. But it was like 3 first round picks, 2 seconds, a third, and then like Reisner, Locke, Patrick, and Chubb or something like that. I was like, no, nobody's gonna do that.
Because that's like essentially four first round picks. I mean, that's not. No.
That's I don't care who the player is. Nobody's worth that much.
No.
Not to that guy. Anyway.
Packers will try. They'll try, but like at the end of the day,
where's Bill O'Brien?
If you want anything for Aaron Rodgers, you're going to take a deal. Like you're just going to let him walk or like retire, because that's what's going to happen.
Packers are waiting for Bill O'Brien to become GM again.
The Packers need to do something because they're running out of time.
Man, imagine that, dude. Can you imagine getting Aaron Rodgers for like? I think we'd still, have to give up a first and a second. Yeah. We get Aaron Rodgers for a first and a second pick.
And those NFC North defenses would rather go up against Jordan Love than Aaron Rodgers again.
Have we even seen anything from the guy, Jordan Love?
I got chills. Jordan Love against the
like June talk. Obviously, it'll change. But are there any goals that you're thinking that you want the offense or the defense to reach? Like, I would love to see the defense hit at least 30 sacks.
Top 5
amongst the entire defense. I think sacks was one of the big issues we had last year.
Top
so
5.
I think if we can get 30 or more, I'll be happy.
We led the league in sacks at one point.
At one point.
I think mid-season.
Like mid-season, we led the league in sacks with no Von Miller.
It was turnovers that was a real issue. I mean,
turnovers. Okay.
Top 5. I want top 5 defense.
Top 5?
Mm-hmm. Top 5 defense. Top 17 offense, at least.
That's a very specific number. Why?
Why
17 and not like?
Because he was trying to go halfway. Basically,
I was trying to go. I was trying to go reasonable. Because they're not going to be top 10. I'm hoping not going to be over top 20. So top 15,
but here's
16 seemed way too high.
Yeah.
I mean, even if Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater, whoever's the quarterback, even if they're ranked 16, 15, 14 as a quarterback, we could still have a higher ranked offense, though.
Right. Oh my gosh.
I mean, the offense is loaded. So I don't see why we couldn't be. I'm not expecting us to be, but I don't see why we couldn't be a top 10 offense.
Drew Lock.
What did I just say? Boggins.
Well, Boggins took my.
I'll
I
wait.
want to see the defense be a top 5 defense, and from the offense, what Glenn said, pretty much, the turnovers got to limit them, especially if Drew Lock is supposed to be on this, bender, so to speak, in terms of trying to
I'm not
embetter
talking
himself.
about Gordon.
Not that kind of bender, but
Hey-o.
he just needs to work on the turnovers and stop putting our defense in very, very awkward positions where it's like, all right, hold them to a field goal, don't let them score a touchdown, and they're just basically worrying
When they're starting on R35.
Yeah, so
Hold them.
yeah, if it's Lock, turnovers. If it's Bridgewater, just I'm trying to figure out what biggest problems Bridgewater had last season with the Panthers, but
I see in Bridgewater, I don't think was the problem with the Panthers. They just didn't have anybody on the roster. They had like one receiver, and then McCaffrey went down. That's all they had.
Yeah,
They
had Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, they had Robbie Anderson. They had DJ Moore. They had some receivers.
DJ Moore was the one that I DJ Moore's good.
They're decent,
but
no run game.
Mike
Davis.
I'm just saying you can't really compare the Panthers roster to what he's got.
Mike
now.
Davis
so
looks stacked with the Falcons. By the way, I saw a picture of him running drills. Good
Well, got some
Lord.
legs.
Woo.
Now I would also like to see a running back, if not 2 running backs, on the Broncos hit 1,000 yards.
Two running backs for 1,000 yards.
I would
With
love
these
to see
receivers,
2,
that's
but I would at
beautiful.
least like to have 1.
I think one's possible.
I would at least like to have 1 running back hit 1,000.
Who's going to be the one though?
Williams.
I think so too.
If Williams hits 1,000 over Melvin Gordon, that's it for Gordon.
I
He's not
really
coming
want to
back.
say Gordon,
Oh,
but
he's
at the
not coming
same
back.
time, like we don't know if he's going to be suspended. We don't know what he's going to look like when he gets back. We have no idea how many balls he's going to fumble. So I think it's probably going to end up being Williams.
I think realistically, 600 a piece probably, like average. I think I just don't think Javonte is going to start out, or Javonte is going to take the lead that soon. I think that it would have to be Gordon first, and unless he's suspended. But I couldn't see 2,000. That's crazy talk. Bold prediction.
2,000 yard receivers.
Hot take.
DJ, who are the 2 receivers? DJ Moore and
Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson, yeah.
Is Curtis Samuel still there? I don't think Curtis Samuel's still there.
No, I think he
Washington.
left. He left for
Washington?
Washington. Only DJ
Yeah, but
Moore
this season
remains.
though, right?
Yeah.
But not last season.
No, he was there
Not
last year.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Oh,
So
and
that-
Anderson is still there. He reunites
so-
with Sam Darnold.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I feel that Bridgewater's being very undervalued. I mean, you look at the Panthers and they sucked. Like they were bad, but they had 2,000 yard receivers.
Malos.
So like obviously there's more there than what we're giving him credit for. So that's my thing. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Robbie,
I
Robbie
do.
and DJ.
I hope that we have. I want to have like because Gordon got close to 1,000 last year, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was 900.
So I want to have at
He
least one running back.
Man, he
get
was
1,000
trying.
yards.
He was trying. Yeah, that's fine. He was trying real hard to get his stats pumped at the end of the year with.
That's
like,
why
some
he
of those,
kept fumbling with them stupid spins.
Well, yeah, some of those ones that he was like wasn't running out of bounds, or he did run, but he did run out of bounds multiple times, and it's just like it's pretty obvious who's number one. Who's number one in his heart, and that's himself, not his team.
He's not in Denver either right now, is he?
No, that's by
he never
choice.
showed up.
I
He
want to
said
be
he's
a mentor. I want to be the guy.
He's working out on his own. And it wasn't there someone that was at OTAs or which one did we just have? Minicamp or OTAs?
OTAs.
OTAs.
Minicamp is next month.
I thought there was a voluntary minicamp and then a mandatory minicamp. It's just OTAs.
No.
The rookie minicamp is that what you're thinking about?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's at the
So
beginning of last
OTAs.
month.
Wasn't there someone that was there and then they left the last day or two?
No, I believe.
I thought there was a player that left.
There's been a lot of players that haven't been practicing a couple days, and I think they were like just vets.
No,
that were
I'm saying
staying
like
out.
they were there practicing and then they just didn't show up one day.
Well,
Wasn't there-
Reisner got COVID. I don't know if that's who you're thinking.
No,
Yeah.
it would have been like this, like yesterday or today.
But if I'm not mistaken, they're all off for June. They come back in July for minicamp, and then beginning of August is training camp.
Oh, it's mid-August, isn't it?
Mid-August, I believe. Yeah.
Do we know if we got hard knocks yet?
July, yeah.
Training camp's July. August is preseason.
Preseason, yeah.
Aren't those one of the... Well, but...
Training camp leads to preseason, basically.
I thought training camp was part of... Like, you played the preseason games during training camp.
The practices. I mean, like... No, there's full training camp, and that goes up to the preseason game, and there's practices in between the preseason games.
Do we know if we got hard knocks yet?
I wish.
I
we get Aaron Rodgers.
Crossing our fingers, Mike.
Oh, I hope so. Like, I hope so. Like, Denver's. I don't care if it's a distraction or not. Like, I want to see.
Hey, I'm enjoying the behind the Broncos series, by the way. So, getting a sneak peek of the war room. What we didn't get to see during the draft.
I gotta go. Someone's gonna offer me more.
It was pretty awesome. The fact that George Payton was like, "Hey, you guys okay with that?" Yeah, everybody clapping. John Elway's just sitting there, probably thinking like, you know what, I would have done something different, but he's like, yeah, I like it.
I think that when Payton asked Elway if he was okay with it, I think he probably woke him up. Yeah, I'm good. Go ahead. That's fine.
One thing we didn't talk about is the Broncos are going to have joint practice with the Vikings.
Are they?
Right after training camp. It says leading up to their game and their first preseason game. At least that's the plan.
Right. I wonder where that connection came from.
Y'all. Yeah, I know. It's. I mean, didn't we do it with Bears the last couple seasons? So.
Yeah, we did it with the Bears in Vic's first year here.
Mm-hmm. I guess not last year. Yeah, that makes sense.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins can get to know all of our corners very well.
Hell, Kirk Cousins already learning passing.
I was hoping you'd pick up on that.
And Kellen Mond.
Oh, they did get Mond, didn't they?
Yeah, that was because they couldn't get Fields.
Yeah.
There's a video that I saw that I think it was the Panthers draft team that was just basically laughing at the Vikings offer to move up and try to get Fields.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. It sucks when you get laughed out on the phone.
I'm trying to think if there's any other stories that we missed. I don't think so.
Hurry, Mike, before your AC gives out again.
NFL. No, it kicked back on. It's been running. I'm nice and cool in here right now.
That makes two of us.
Shut up. Yeah, I think that about covers it. So we're thinking top 5 defense is what we're wanting.
Mm-hmm. I think top 3, potentially number 1. I mean,
numero uno.
Cross your fingers. On paper, looking good.
Do we know what Browning would be looking like? Like, is he going to be replacing a specific linebacker, or is he going to be more of the?
It all depends on what he does in preseason. If he can outshine maybe Honey Bear. I don't think Alexander Johnson.
Leave my Honey Bear alone.
If he replaces either one of those guys, it's Honey Bear.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, is he going to specifically replace one, you think, or is it going to be a rotational?
No, I think you're looking at Sternad and Browning as like the will linebackers, because I think both AJ or Alexander and Honey Bear are both Mike linebackers. I think they're more of the run stuffer, the play callers on the defense. So I would say it's more of a Justin Sternad versus Bearing Browning to be good enough to switch out Josie Jewell at that current position. But I think Josie Jewell will start the season just because he's the most familiar with the defense. Unless Justin really, I mean, he didn't play last year, but he's been around, so maybe he's picked it up well enough.
I remember like the second or third podcast we ever did, we talked about Alexander Johnson and the move he does, like the dinosaur something. What is that called?
Gosh, what's Perna call it? The bus driver. Yeah,
the
not. I don't want to start throwing out.
I had I knew what it was, but I don't remember what it was.
It's specifically what he said.
I know what you're talking about too. I saw
now it's gonna bug me until I figure it out.
Yeah, whatever. But it's funny. Just know it's funny, and he talks about Alexander Johnson's ability to look like a dinosaur.
That's his charm.
Mm-hmm.
As Mundungus scrolls through his phone.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
fine.
I'm trying.
No,
you'll remember it once we get offline.
As soon as I shut it off, it's gonna be like,
it starts with a P. I know it starts with a P, and it's important to everyone.
Everyone is going to be bothered now because.
Okay. Yeah.
You couldn't figure it out. That's going to bother me.
Well, yeah. But anyways, yeah, I see them both starting out the season or Josie starting out at Will and Alexander starting out at Mike like they did last year, and then hopefully someone takes over. But
was it osteoporosis dinosaur?
There you go.
Or bus driver.
Yeah.
Bus driver.
There was a P in there.
Osteoporosis bus driver. That's what it was.
Thank
you, God.
Thank you, Reddit.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
I feel better now.
Osteoporosis bus driver.
I kept thinking like Tourette's, but that wasn't it.
No,
that's
not it.
It doesn't start with an O, Mike.
I understand that. I got that. So one thing I did want to ask right before we kind of close out, when we were talking about the stadium at full capacity, has everybody, at least on here, and I want people in the comments to answer too, has everybody here been to a Broncos game in Denver?
Yep.
Nope.
Have you been to a Broncos game anywhere?
Nope.
Yep.
But I'm going to be.
You're going to do the preseason one, right?
Second preseason game is here in Seattle against the Seahawks, and I will be there. Excited.
I will say this: like I've been to Seahawks games before when I was stationed up in Washington, but there's a different feeling when you go to a Broncos game.
It's a dream of mine.
Like
for sure.
It's hard. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just there's a different feeling.
Yes, it is.
Because like the one I went to, it was Invesco had just gotten built and they still had Mile High up next to it. Mile High was going to go. Wow. Mile High was going to be taken down
parking lot
the next off season.
Yeah.
And so when I went there, you walked in between both to get into Invesco, and it was just a different feeling. I've never felt that before.
The closest I've got out here in Seattle is that we have a bar in Seattle that is a Broncos bar, and so it's like packed, and so you do all the chants and everything, and that's as close as I get.
I'm guessing EJ's a season ticket holder. I'm going to assume, which is awesome. So is Glenn. Yay, Glenn.
Yeah, I went 2 years ago, and the game I went to was when they played the Texans, and it was the first game with Demaryius Thomas as a Texan.
Oh,
so they had the banner up. Thank you, Demaryius.
They were force feeding Demaryius.
Mine was way before that. Like the last, I've only been to one, and it was like 2003.
I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, there was nothing but sea of orange and blue as far as the eye could see. The Broncos tailgate, people taking pictures with the statues they have up front of the bust of the famous Bronco. I mean, I can't wait to do it again. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
I want to say it was like 2003. I went to the Ravens Broncos game. We just got smoked. It was like 45-10.
Yeah,
it was bad, but it was awesome. I still got the Davis jersey my dad bought me when we went. It doesn't fit anymore, but I still have it.
I wonder why.
You don't say.
I have no idea why.
It must have gone through the dryer.
Yeah.
It went through the dryer.
Give it to Landon. I'm sure he'll try.
No, that's my jersey. Not a season ticket holder, but live in Denver.
Oh, cool.
I have a beer budget set aside when I go to the game. You're in Canada, so we don't count.
Do you really want to have a beer budget for Coors? I mean, I'd rather drink water.
It's not about the beer at that point. It's just about the experience.
It's the experience.
It's like going to the movie theater and buying like candy and stuff. You're going to spend an arm and leg.
When you're sitting there and you feel the people, the fans stomping and the whole stadium shakes, and you're sitting next to a Broncos fan with a giant cowbell. I mean,
More cowbell.
Then you chug your beer because that's what you do.
That's exactly what you do.
And then the
It's
incomplete
amazing.
chant, which is awesome.
Mhm.
And then obviously we'll get Mile High Five in there too. That'll be fun.
There's gonna be only
Everyone-
4 people doing the
everyone
Mile High
clap.
Five.
Hey, it's done in the stadium, so it's fine. It counts.
Come on, everybody.
Yeah. So on that wonderful note, that's gonna about do it. We want to thank every single person that joined us in the chat today. And again, we are on that quest for 1,000. The best way to support the podcast and to support us, without us begging for money, which we'll do later when we hit 1,000, is just to go ahead and subscribe so we can hit that 1,000 subs. So make sure you slap that thumbs up button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share so that you can know when we go live and anytime we post any of our content on our pages so that other Broncos fans out there in Broncos country can know that we are here. Make sure you are also tuning in at 6, 5, 4, and 3 on Sundays for the Nothing Rhymes with the Orange and Blue podcast with Johnny and Isaiah. And then at 7, 6, 5, 4 on Tuesdays for Broncos Talk with the 6'10" and Rich. And with that, we're going to head out. We love you all. Have a great weekend. And we are going to do a Mile High Five because I slacked off last time and Boggins finally did it.
Do I have to
we're good.
subscribe if I'm already on the show?
It's not gonna.
Yes.
No, he's not gonna do it.
Are you
All right,
ready?
come on, Mark.
Yeah.
Mile High Five.
Yeah.
Good enough for me. That's going to do it. We'll see you guys on Sunday.
I paint to my own brush. That's not